So this film story begins in 1906 by showing California here. The construction work was going on in the Winchester family's house. That is, some more rooms were being built here. Sitting on the same site, we see a woman named Sarah Winchester, and the construction work was being done at her behest recently. Due to an accident, her husband and daughter have died, because of which she is always sad, and due to the absence of her husband, she wears colorful clothes all the time. After this, we see a child named Henry, who is suddenly possessed by a bad soul. That is, she takes control of him, and he starts walking with a bag on his head. Then his mother came here, who actually belonged to the Winchester family, and this was Sarah Winchester's niece. She comes and removes the bag from Henry's head and sees that a very bad, dangerous soul has possessed him because his eyes had turned completely white, and he points upwards and says that he is coming for us. That is, he is coming for us. After this, in these shifts, a doctor comes. His name was Eric. He was addicted to drugs since his wife died. We see a special kind of gun bullet in his hand on which it was written, "Together forever." That is, not forever, but together. Then a man came here who actually came from the Winchester Company. He shows Eric Sarah's photo and says that you have to examine it. He wanted Sarah to be checked because the people of the company believed that she had gone mad. They had a gun business that used to run quite well before. But now the company has to bear heavy losses because Sarah is not paying attention to her business and is paying more attention to her home. So now the company's senior officers wanted Eric to prove that Sarah is mad, so that the company can be in their name. The company worker offers Eric this job by saying that we will pay you double the amount, for which he agreed, and reaches the Winchester house the next day. Here Henry's mother, that is, Sarah's niece, shows him the whole house. When Eric was sitting in his room and taking drugs at night, he suddenly sees a soul behind him, seeing which he was already stunned. But then he thinks that maybe because of taking drugs, I saw that soul. Then someone comes to his door. When the door opened, it was found that he was a servant, working in the house, who had come to invite him for dinner. When Eric goes for dinner, he meets Sarah for the first time here. When he sleeps at night, he dreams of his wife, seeing whom his eyes open with fear. Suddenly a voice came from the garden room, which he immediately goes to investigate. He sees that Sarah is in a room, and she is taking out a box from the locker. Here Sarah also felt as if someone was watching me, so she came out to check. By then, Eric goes to a room to hide. Here he also sees a soul, seeing which he gets scared. He quickly comes out of that room. Then he starts roaming around the house to investigate more. Suddenly his eyes went to Henry, where he was in the same condition as before. That is, he was walking with a bag on his head. But this time he jumps off the roof, but quickly runs that way, and catches him before Eric falls down and saves Henry's life like this. Then his mother also comes here and takes care of her son. Here it is found that the soul who tried to kill Henry, he also killed Sarah's husband and daughter, because he wants to kill all the members of the Winchester family one by one, because he wants to take revenge from Indigo. Now, what was that revenge? We will find out in the future. The next day, Eric meets Sarah, who tells her that I am not crazy. I know the difference between reality and imagination very well. Also, I feel the soul in this house, which tells me to do some incomplete work. Now the next night again, Eric starts roaming around the house to investigate. Then he sees Sarah sitting in a room, who was drawing something with her head up. Looking at it, it looked like a room. And now, as soon as the drawing of the room is completed, all the candles, there go out. And from inside the room, a soul suddenly comes in front of Eric and scares him, seeing which Eric's condition deteriorates, and he immediately runs away from there. The next day, Eric meets Sarah again, who tells her that all the souls who talk to me keep in touch with me. All these souls were killed by Winchester's gun. The company of the gun belongs to my husband. Then Eric shows the same bullet that was with him to Sarah, and tells her that I was also shot by Winchester's gun. And for 3 minutes I also died, but then suddenly I was also alive. but I have kept this bullet with me since then. Giving the bullet. Sarah says that it is not good to keep things of death with you. These things are dangerous. And yes, you must have seen souls in this house. They come because after life, that is, after seeing the world, after death, the person who comes back to life can see the souls. That is, he has the ability to see the souls. Like me, it happened to me just like you. After dying, I also came back to life. And now, as soon as I see those souls, they talk to me and ask me to do their work. Sarah says that those souls make a replica of that room in which she died from Winchester's gun. And what you saw last night, I made a drawing of one of them and talked to the souls. And the souls do this so that from the same room where they died, they can come back to the human world and live here peacefully. The souls say that they will not harm anyone. That's why I keep making rooms in my house every day, because all of them died in this house. And I have put 13 nails on the door of every room, because it is believed that 13 is a pure number, through which those rooms can always be closed, and the soul will not be able to come from its world to our world, and will always stay in that room. The next day, she possesses Henry again, but this time, she does not target Henry but herself. Because Henry tries to kill her with a gun, he also attacks Sarah, but then Henry's mom and Eric come and save them. Eric tells his mom that I don't like your son's mental condition. Take him to a hospital so that he can be treated. Then suddenly the same servant comes back and tells Eric that I have come to help you. He traps Eric in his words and takes him to the same room where Henry was standing wearing a bag. As soon as he comes here, he comes in his real form and scares Eric. He says that they will all die. Seeing this, Eric's condition deteriorates, and he immediately runs away from there and comes to Sarah. There was a picture of that servant, about which Eric asks him and tells him everything that the servant did to him just now. Then Sarah says that he is not our servant, and shows him the newspaper and says that he had died 19 years ago. He is after our family. He wants to avenge the death of his 2 brothers, who were killed by a Winchester gun during a war. After that incident, the servant entered the Winchester Company and killed 15 innocent people. Then he locked himself in a room. When the police came there, the servant was killed by them. And now the soul of that servant contacted me and made a replica of that room so that he can come into our world and kill all of us and take revenge for his brothers. Then suddenly the same earthquake comes and everything starts moving. Then this place breaks down and some servants die there, but fortunately, all 3 of them survived. Then Eric hears a voice from the garden room when he goes to check. He sees that this place is exactly like my house. Here he sees his wife. Surely he must have also made a replica of his house, and he had a Winchester gun in his hand. And then there is something that happened here a few years ago in his garden room. That is, Eric's wife shot herself with a gun and killed her. But before that, let me tell you what actually happened. Actually, his wife also saw souls, about which he told Eric, but Eric did not believe him. Then in anger, his wife accidentally shot Eric with a gun, because of which he died for 3 minutes. Seeing this, his wife was very nervous. Seeing him dead, she went crazy. Then she shot herself in front of Eric's body and took her life. Now present time. Eric was also conscious. When his eyes opened, all the souls, including his wife, were in front of him, which tells him to help Sarah. That is, always support him in making those rooms, because Sarah also helped them by making their rooms, so that Eric is missing from his room and his mom is looking for him. Eric went to Sarah where she was not, but there was a bad soul who was about to attack Eric, that Eric also shoots him with a Winchester gun, which kills him there. Until then, Henry's mom also finds him and saves him, and all the souls go to their rooms and all the doors are closed, and now nails will be put on these doors. After everything is over, Eric makes a report in which he writes that Sarah is not crazy. She is absolutely normal. And the company questions, after which Sarah is making more rooms for the souls in that house, which Eric also supports now. Then a banana fell out of a room because 13 bananas were not planted there. It is possible that this soul is Sarah's husband or his daughter, because of them, Sarah is helping the souls. Sarah's husband was killed because of the curse on his Winchester family. This curse actually belongs to those thousands of people who died with Winchester's gun. Thinking all this, Sarah built that house so that all the souls who died with Winchester's gun can live peacefully here. This house was then always considered haunted because there were hundreds of souls living in the whole house. If you open the door, there are 2 more rooms inside. There are stairs and chimneys everywhere which look like a net. Those workers always work here at the behest of Sarah. Now this will surprise you that this is a true story, according to which that house was closed forever, that is. Those souls were handed over. And with this drowning ending, this story also ends here.